let's see what joyous fun we can get into today using just 8 mods and building out small towns all over this beautiful map. Today we are starting a brand new town using the Green Cities DLC. Let's get started. Here we are back in Noobs Town. We are starting our 3rd town. You guys voted that you wanted the Green Cities DLC and you voted for this area. And I am so excited. I think having it around this inlet is gonna be so great, and we're gonna be able to connect into the train network as well. So let's go ahead and start and at least get our base zoning area filled out, and this might grow depending on how big we actually decide to make this town based on your guys' suggestions as we move forward through our 3rd town. I'm so excited. With the Green Cities, policies were a big part of that DLC, and there are a bunch of other policies too, so we are going to go through and just kind of figure out what policies we want for this town focused on Green Cities. If there's any here that I missed or some that you think that we should have, let me know. I am just going through here and just trying to pick out all the things that will help make this city greener. Every single road in this town is going to have biking on it, so I'm going to ban the biking on the sidewalks. That way the sidewalks are just for pedestrians and then bikers can stay in their bike lanes. And yes, I'm banning combustible engines, and we're going with those little electric cars. I think this will be really fun, and it all fits in with our theme of green cities. Before we place down any roads, I'm gonna clear out these trees. I like to start with a clean palette. We will add lots of trees back in, and then I'm gonna do some terrain work. I really liked in Noob Castle how we had that tiered housing and we had some hills. I don't want to do exactly that, but we've already got some terrain heights in here, and so I just kind of want to use those as a guide and just kind of make some more layers of heights in this town. I was really vibing with our hills that we had in Noob Castle. I grew up in Seattle and we have a lot of hills there, and so I really kind of am like vibing on the hills right now on the layers of height. So I think we're gonna do something with that, not exactly the same that we did in Noob Castle. So I'm excited. All right, let me get all of this situated and we'll get a road layout down. I'm really excited for the city. You guys know I'm obsessed with the local and organic produce, and there's gonna be so many fun things we're gonna be able to do with the Green Cities DLC. Okay, we've got some geometric shapes, some curvy roads. I really like this. It's kind of weird and funky, and I feel like for Green Cities, we do want to have a little bit of weird vibes coming in, and I don't know. I'm kind of obsessed with this. Okay, now we have to connect into our highway. I'm going to use a roundabout here. I feel like that's the simplest way to go for now, because To the other side of us, we have this huge farming area, and I can imagine when we dive into doing the DLC towns for the industry, we will actually do, with that DLC, we'll actually break that up into 4 towns, because we'll do a farming town, an ore town, an oil town, and so on. So I think it's going to be like a fishing town, all of that stuff. So I definitely want to make room for branching off of this here. So I think I'm just going to come straight here, and let's just get this connected in. By the way, how excited are we all for City Skylines 2? I think the rest of this year is just going to be all of us being like, when's there more news? When's it coming out? When are we going to know more? And it's just a really exciting time to be a fan and a builder in this game. I do think I want to use the small 4-lane road for coming into our community here. So I'm going to upgrade this. And then these 2 roads coming in, they won't have bike roads on them. I have another plan for that, but these will be the only non-bike roads in our town. This is going to kind of be an entrance. I have a fun detailing idea later for that. Okay, and then the thing that I want to do is I want to create a second way to get in and out of the community. As we build up towns around this, we might have more, but for right now, I want to basically have a feeder road that runs along the highway on the opposite side, and that's where we'll allow our bike network to continue, and also that'll be a great road for buses to come and connect from the towns as well. So let's get this all set up. Okay, now the fun part. I'm gonna do our bike road with trees. You guys know that's my favorite. I'm gonna do this kind of along the outside in the main through roads, and then we're gonna do our bike road with just the grass in between, because we are gonna be placing down a lot of trees, and I do like to have my roads looking a little differently, so I don't want to just use the bike road with trees on the whole entire network. So that gives us a little distinction, which I think actually aesthetically looks really nice. Okay, we're making a little bit of progress here. This is good. This road layout is so funky, but I really like it. Okay, we're gonna think about adding in our train connection now. I really want to use the historical train station up here. I have an idea for this space to create a massive outdoor farmers market, which I'm so excited about, and the historical train station will be a big part of that, and I'm so excited when we get to that point. We won't be doing that today, of course, but let me get this hooked in, and then we do need to lay down all of our water pipes under the roads where they belong. Okay, I thought this part up here next to the highway would be a good place to put some sort of city services complex. With the Green Cities DLC, there is that massive recycling center and unique buildings, and so I want to make sure we have enough room to put that in, because like I said, my whole goal in building out these individual towns is we really use all the pieces that we got with those DLCs and highlight them. So I know that's massive, but this is going to be such a great location too, being that it's right near the freeway, and we're going to be near a lot of towns as we build out this map. I forgot to change our chirper. So we had the little railroad cap for our mass transit DLC town. So I think for the Green Cities, we're gonna go with the flower crown. I think that makes the most sense here. So we'll leave this little girl up here until we are finished with this town. Okay, let's track down that recycle. Here it is. Oh, We just need a bit more room. Okay, well, let's make this a little bit bigger then. Man, this thing is massive. And this makes goods too, which is really great. So that's going to be super helpful as well. I like the look of this though. This is so cool. Okay, the other thing that we got with the Green Cities was the geothermal plant, which I definitely want to use here. We did use this in our mass transit DLC town. It's one of my probably favorite power sources. So, or no, we use this in our non-DLC town, and then we use the solar in the mass transit DLC town. So, my bad. Okay, so let's get this hooked in. We'll deal with those power lines later, but for now I think they're okay running along the highway. Yeah, I really like the look of these two together. Very nice. This is going to be great. We're going to have power and garbage for our whole entire map for a good while. Okay, the other thing we got with the Green Cities DLC was this eco water treatment plant, which I've never actually used, so we're going to use it. The other thing that we got is this floating garbage collector with the Green Cities DLC, and we're going to use this too. I kind of like the look of it. I've never used either of these two assets. Maybe I've used the floating garbage for a project one time. I can't remember, but I've never used that in like a proper city build. So this is going to be fun. These junctions are a little close together, but I do think a little asymmetrical roads will help with this area. So let's do that just to help with traffic before it becomes an issue. Okay, and I also went with a little couplet as our official entrance to the city. So we've got a one-way road on either side, which I think will help with traffic coming in and out of the city, because this will be our main entrance. Okay, it's time to get our train line pulled through. So we're just gonna grab this and we're going to come all the way over to our new historical train station. So we'll end there. And we're going to come back and make sure we put a stop on both sides. This is a really great tip if you're laying down train tracks. You can just drag that one line and then come back and add the other two other lines. It makes things much easier. And wow, look at the people using our trains. This is great. I'm trying to find the right capacity. Oh, 300 feels good to me. And let's do 5 trains. Okay, I think this is gonna work really well. Okay, I think we're ready to start some zoning and just start getting some residents moving into this area. So, I'm actually gonna just go on the top here. So I want to do in this Green Cities DLC town, I want to do a good mix of the low density and the high density, but they're in contrast. So there's not a good medium density for the Green City. So I am going to have to be thoughtful and careful of how I have those layers in height so it doesn't feel so awkward. But we'll work on that later. Today we're just going to focus on one area of our town, and that's going to be our lower density area of town. And right now, all that we are going to do is allow this area to build up, and we are going to look for our first resident who moves in, who will be named after the person who picked the name for this town. I went on to my Discord and asked for ideas for this Green Cities DLC town. I got so many great name ideas that we're definitely going to be using a bunch of them for different towns. We have so many towns to build. So thank you guys for those of you who submitted names. Keep submitting your noob names. It It's really fun, and I'm gonna need a lot of them as we move forward with this project. So let's just wait and find our first person who is moving in on their electric vehicle. This is so exciting. Okay, we're gonna slow this down a little bit. We wanna make sure we catch what house they go into. Okay, they've gotten off of, oh my gosh, look at how many people were in that little vehicle. Oh my goodness, that's too funny. Okay, thank you, Thomas, aka the Sneaky Danish, for suggesting Noobtopia, because yes, green cities would be a utopia, and I love that name, and I think that's perfect for what we're going to be building here, especially if you think about all the unique buildings that we got with the Green Cities DLC, like the floating gardens and the Zagat gardens. I think that's what it's called, the pyramid, and I just think it just makes sense. So thank you for that name. And so this is now Noobtopia, or Green Cities DLC town. Okay, the next important thing we have to do is select a signature tree for this town. So each of the towns we've built so far, I've picked like one tree to kind of be the signature tree. I'm really thinking this tree is going to work best. I know it looks kind of ridiculous with this low density because it is so incredibly tall, but if you think about the Green Cities high density buildings, this tree is actually going to be able to stand up to that. I mean, those would actually be nice too. And I don't think the evergreens are going to be good. No. Yeah. I really do like these really tall trees. Okay, we're going to go with it. If you guys absolutely think it's the wrong move, let me know. But just thinking ahead to those high density Green City buildings, they get pretty tall, and I want a tree that stands up to that. So I think this is going to be a good fit. So I'm just going to do a couple blocks today. Like I said, I'm just focusing on the low density on this side of town. So I think that's where I'm going to stop. And then it's really important to me as I slowly zone these areas that I add in these little spots of commercial, the local and organic produce. That way you could easily walk or bike to a coffee shop or grocery store, pharmacy, things like that. So I'm going to be sprinkling in them in this build as we go. Now we need to think about services. So we definitely want a police station. I think this might be a good spot. Okay, we definitely want a fire station. I think that would be a good spot too. I do like that little triangle. We're gonna go with this one there. We'll do some detailing around it. It will look nice. Medical clinic. We want to have a good ratio. I always really take my time in figuring out where I want service buildings. It's a mix of like aesthetically, where do I want it, and then thinking about how people move about the town, what's going to be convenient, and then coverage area. So I do try to think about all of those things. All right, I think we're off to a good start here. Yeah, maybe that'll be our last low density block, and then this is where we start building things up. I think this is a good swath of low density through here. So we're just going to fill this in. And that's the thing too with these low density Green Cities buildings. You really can just kind of do mass zoning like this because they look really nice. I love the low density Green Cities. Especially once they like upgrade, they look really good. Okay, the other thing we got with the Green Cities DLC was the community school and the high school like arts building. So I definitely want to make sure we add both of those in. I think I'm gonna go right here actually. Yeah, I think there's some good detailing opportunity. I do like that this whole part of the town is on a hill too. I'm just like obsessed with hills lately. I don't know what it is, but I am. This map is just so inspiring. It's so beautiful. I love, it's just like built for this project because there's so many little corners that just are perfect for little towns, and the mountains separating things. I just think it's perfect. Anyways, okay. I'm getting distracted, but it's all good. That's what we do in Cities Skylines. And I can already see people are using our little back road into the community, which is great. We definitely wanted 2 ways to get in and out. That way we weren't building a giant cul-de-sac. All right. So we definitely want some death care. Where do we want to sneak this in? Maybe over here. And child health care, I for sure want. I think this is going to make sense right across from the elementary school, because then you can drop off your kids at daycare or elementary. And I like the idea of doing the senior center right on the water, because we're going to have a waterfront park. And if you were a senior, how nice would it be to walk outside of your adult living center and be able to like walk through the park? I think that's so great. So we're going to do that. And then we're just going to try to fit in some of these parks along the waterfront here, which I think is going to be really good. Yeah, honestly, with all the hills here, I do think it's probably going to be best to put these parks right along the water. So let's do that. We definitely want a dog park for sure. That will go right across on the other side of the senior centers in case seniors have little dogs. That will be nice. Let's go ahead and fill this in so our power jumps down there. I think we are making really good progress here. I'm already seeing all the detail opportunities that are going to come about, especially just with the little hills and things. I think it's going to be really fun to play with that from a detailing perspective as well. And I know I mentioned I'm going to have a huge farmers market near the train station, but I do think in this low density part of town, I want to do like a mini farmers market somewhere too. So I'm going to be thinking about that as I'm filling this all in. We are making excellent progress. So another thing we got with the Green Cities DLC was the community pool. So I'm definitely going to put this right down here by the waterfront. Look at how many people are already moving around. Just because we've banned combustible engines, you can see how many people are walking and cycling, and that's exactly what we want. Okay, so I've put in the sauna here, and then we're gonna go with the yoga garden, and what a nice little recreational area. Makes sense that it's near the park. We're also near the school, so I like that. I think I'm gonna leave that there. Okay, so I'm gonna put our little park entrance down here, and we'll paint our park area. That way we can use some park buildings. Okay, and right across from our park entrance is where I'm gonna do the mini farmers market. So I'm just gonna carefully paint in some zoning here, and we'll just have to play whack-a-mole until we get what we want. While that's filling in, I'm gonna get all of our parks connected up. Okay, I'm happy with this little selection here and this little mini farmer's market. So I think this is gonna work really well. Okay, we'll go with this guy right there. That kind of matches in. Yeah, I like that. Okay, wow, look at how many people are using the park. This is just phenomenal. Okay, I think we're ready to dive in and start doing some detailing to this area. And I think we'll start with the schools. Okay, I've cleared out this area here because right across from the high school, I think this is going to be the perfect place to bring in this small bus station that we got recently. I think it's going to work really well to have a little bus hub right here. We'll definitely also have something over in our downtown area. We'll build a proper transit hub, but I think for this side of town, something like this is going to be perfect because I do want to bring a bus from New Brighton over here to Noobtopia. And where this bus station is placed is also straight down the road from our tunnel. So I think that's going to be absolutely perfect. So let's detail this up and then we can add in some buses. Okay, we're back in New Brighton. I think right here is going to be a perfect place to kind of create a little bus hub over here. And I think I'm going to use the pedestrian roads with the bus lanes. We're going to clear out the housing here and just kind of create our own little bus hub in here. I think it's going to be really cute and will be convenient for the community. And we are close to the entrance, so this will be perfect to add in our bus that's going to go over to Noobtopia. Okay, so we are going to go from Brighton to Topia. This is going to work really well. Let's give this a nice dark green color. And let's go 2 buses. We want a pretty good capacity here. So let's go with the 80 capacity because this essentially would be an express bus. It's just one stop back and forth. So yeah, I think this is gonna work well. Let's see if we can catch a bus ride from New Brighton over to Noobtopia. You guys know I love grabbing a first-person view. This is really fun to be back in New Brighton and be going around the city here. So we are about to turn onto our bike, what I'm calling kind of our bike and bus road, but it's essentially a feeder road along the highway here. I think there's lots of detail opportunities over here as well, but I love that we already seeing cyclists using this as a connection between the 2 towns. I think this is fantastic. I'm actually really excited to detail on this area because I think near this feeder road we could create like a really epic green belt that could be a piece of recreation that these 2 towns kind of share together, which I think would be so cool. Okay, here we go. And the hills. I know they're steep, but I like them. It's very Seattle or very San Francisco. This is great. There is a massive amount of detailing to do, but I think what I'm going to do today is just try to get our park detailed up and focused there. I think this waterfront park is so cute, and I just want to create some different little areas on this whole waterfront. So I'm just using a little bit of the park asset buildings. We'll do lots of trees. and just kind of make this feel like a place you would want to go spend a Sunday morning with your coffee or come in the evening and watch the sunset. I love a waterfront park. Oh, this will not do at all. We are gonna go to our move it. So if you see this, you can do this in your city. I'm just doing this the most basic way. I'm sure there's fancier ways with other mods, but just clicking on the node and using your page up button, quick and easy fix for something like that. So the thing I'm doing with this waterfront park is when you're on this trail that's next to the water, that's when you get that water view, you get that experience. But on the road that's running along the waterfront, I am gonna try to put a lot of trees and usually I like to allow that water view to peek through, which I will in some areas, but I think it's gonna be really nice to have the park feel a bit secluded. So that way, once you walk into the park, then you see the water view, which I think is gonna be really cool. So this little area here is screaming to have some nice little lawn chairs and umbrellas and just kind of make a cute little place you could come and get some vitamin D. Okay, how cute is this? What a lovely view, especially once the rest of this town is built up. That's gonna be epic. Okay, let's put a little fencing around here for safety. With the seniors, if you do connect in a path, you will see them. They will walk out of the building and use the path, which is really cool. So I'm just gonna hook up a little path here. Perfect, love that. And then we're gonna give our seniors some lovely flowers and some nice little tables with umbrellas. Okay, and if you're on the trail, I want people to easily get from the trail to the restrooms back here. So I always like to do this when I place restrooms in my park, is there is this back area that you can just attach right into, which I really like aesthetically. Okay, we've got one local bus going in one direction. We are going to make another bus that goes in the opposite direction. This is just a small line for now, but as this town grows, essentially we'll just have these two bus lines that'll actually service the entire community. So this these two lines will grow as we expand, but I think this is nice to have this service for now. So we're going to be Noobtopia 1 and 2, going really basic like we have before, and then we will go here. I want to stick with some nice green colors. I think that'll be fun. And yeah, 4 buses, I think that's fine. Typically in this game, what I see happen when you have a circular, or not, when you have a a mirrored bus route like this is normally one of the routes won't be as highly used and the other one will, which is always interesting. I think it just has to do with which one you place down first or maybe last. I don't know. It's something maybe somebody should test in the game, or maybe I can at some point. But I think this is going to be great. And look at how many people are already using our little bus station going over. They want to go over to New Brighton. That is getting very packed there. Let's check on that. Oh my goodness. Well, I think, you know what I think we need is we need actually a bus that goes from our train station to here, because that's, I think, going to help so that so many people aren't taking this, and that way people that are wanting to come from Noob Castle can find another way here as well through the train. So I think we will do that, and I think that will help a lot in this area. I just wanted to snag a ride on our little local bus here and just kind of check out our neighborhood real quick. Oh, I like this. This feels so good. I really like these tall trees. I think they're gonna work really well. I just like the vibe here. Look, everyone's walking and biking. This is great. This is fantastic. Oh, that's a steep hill. That hill might be a little too steep. We might have to do something about that one. But I've seen hills that steep in Seattle, so you know, it's there. I really like this though. I love the green cities, low density buildings, and the detail. I mean, look at the cute little mailboxes. I just love getting up close like this. You really get to see things that you normally don't notice. So why are you walking in the middle of the road? Okay. All right. Okay, let's go get in our bus line from the train to our bus hub. And I think that will help cut down on how many people are using that bus from New Brighton, because that's a little ridiculous. Okay, while we're letting that kind of sort itself out, I think I'm causing a traffic jam here with these buses. So I think I want to make some little legs off this for the bus to come in and turn around, and that way it's not blocking the street traffic here. And I might redo this later on too, but I think this will solve the problem for right this moment. Okay, this is good. We're not blocking traffic, at least anymore for now. So that works for me. Ooh, we've got a bit of a traffic here. I think we can fix this. I think if we go with our 4-lane bike, let's upgrade this. Should we go back one more? Let's go back one more. Okay, that's gonna help. And then I wonder here if we should go with the 6-lane, just to give some dedicated turning lanes. Good old Biffa style traffic management to the rescue. And look at that, we're doing pretty good. So I'm happy with that. Okay, we're over here in Noob Castle, just showing you guys a little bit of the detailing we did in the live detailing session last Friday on Discord. That was a lot of fun. Let me know if you guys like me to do that again. I had a really fun time, so maybe it's something we could do like every other Friday. And maybe I'll try to do some different times so that way, you know, I can catch some different time zones. But we're just going around the bend here, coming up into our new town of Noobtopia. I love this map. I'm excited about what I'm building right now, but I see the potential for so many other areas. Oh, I'm so excited to do this view when this town is completed. Thank you all for being here for start of another town on our beautiful map, the Green Cities DLC focus town of Noobtopia. I hope you all have a joyful day, and I'll catch you next time.